Hello.
And welcome
to FTI Takeover. I'm your host, Alex Smith.
And I'm your host, Karen Ryan.
Yes.
Here we are at
FTI Takeover.
We're getting better.
Yeah, they've been saying that we've been banging our hands around too much here, but we're learning how to do this thing called podcasting. I mean, at this point, we have been releasing content weekly now on Wednesdays.
At 7 a.m.
Yes, Eastern Standard Time. Yep. And we are basically celebrating our 2-month anniversary of FTI.
Actually, I think it's like 45, 46 days of being FDI fucking do it podcast. It's taken over globally. Seriously.
Yes, we're going to be international. You just wait.
Yeah. Well, we already are. I mean, we've got people in Italy and the Netherlands following us. So
yeah.
That's good.
We love you for following us.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I'm so excited for today's podcast episode because we are going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to our heart, which is what, Karen?
Walking the fuck away. So
Yes.
to walk the fuck away. You're going to get into arguments and confrontations with people, and it's going to get really heated. And I can tell you from my experience being super Italian and blood starts boiling, you start getting upset, and you just want to get your point across. When you come at somebody with aggression, they're going to come at you with aggression. And when you have a lot of aggression, you're going to have a lot of heat and a lot of fire. It's better to back the fuck away. Seriously, take yourself out of it, come back, reassess the situation, and communicate clearly. So we're going to talk about some things in our lives that brought us to that. But it's a huge, important, I think, antidote to learning how to communicate better. You know, I mean, I've been told that I'm a great communicator because I can't keep my mouth shut. I have something to say.
Hey, for better or for worse. You know, it's a skill set and it's also your worst nightmare.
Exactly. And it can be my worst nightmare. So, but backing the fuck away or backing the fuck off is so important because you need to let the other person speak. People like to talk about themselves, right? They like to be heard. So if you want to be heard, you have to give that common courtesy of listening and letting somebody talk. So we're just going to take it from there. We'll spiral off that.
So walking away from the situation is a very important topic because there is a lot of people here where they are probably on the verge of walking away from a job, walking away from a relationship, walking away from a friendship that's no longer serving them, maybe walking away from a place that they feel like they are just stuck in a rut, hamster wheel, doing the same thing over and over again. And hopefully this episode will help you find that little bit of a push, little bit of a courage for you to do the things that you need to do to also get out of your own way. Because most of the time, it's our emotions that keep us rooted. And one of the reasons why we end up sitting in the situation for longer than we know that we need to be there. So we're hoping that this episode just gives you that little extra kick out the door. I don't know.
Yeah, like let the door hit you on the ass.
Yeah,
on the
like
way
you're
out.
going to love it.
You're going to love it.
You're going to be like, thank God.
Yeah, like, ooh, that hurt, and I'm on my way. Because pain is the gain, seriously.
It is.
Fear holds us back. You're afraid. You're afraid of the what ifs. The situation that you're in that doesn't feel right in your gut, you need to get out of it. Once you release yourself from that, and I talk from true testimony, when you walk away or back the fuck away, your life unfolds on a different path and you're going to be open to more opportunities, more people, more relationships. I can be the biggest testimony for you that walk away and don't be afraid. I'm not saying.
Sometimes you have to be a savage about it. Yeah. I have a really savage story to share.
Tell us.
So I've talked about this on other podcasts before. We've all been in relationships that haven't worked out. Some of us have been in long-term relationships, haven't worked out. And my situation was just that. I was, 3.5 years at this point living in Los Angeles. 2020 hit. Everything came to the surface in 2020. And you either made it or you broke away with your partner during that time. And I was definitely one that broke away for the better, for sure. It was definitely at this point where we were either going to get engaged or we were going to break up. I know some people can relate to that. It's like one way or the other. But towards the end, it started to get really bad. He had a series of situations that had happened over time. And, obviously the drinking and starting to be such an asshole where I was walking on eggshells. I felt very codependent. I was also on the other side of the country by myself. And here I was stuck in this cycle of being with someone who was not choosing to better themselves, was actually choosing the opposite. Suicidal at some point too, which was also really difficult to deal with. And so every ounce of me wanted to be very codependent on him because I was worried about his safety, right? But at that point, I just knew something needed to change. And I didn't know how I was going to get out of this relationship. I had no idea how to walk away, not a clue. I would sit there and feel that every ounce in my body, the amount of anxiety that was sitting in my neck and in my throat for such a long time. It's like, how do I actually get out of here? And I ended up going to visit my family down in South Florida and just saying I need some time. I brought my work laptop, I brought my dog, and I brought my one suitcase, and I never went back. I did not get back on the plane and go back to California and in that relationship. There's a whole, I gave you the abridged like savage version, but I walked the fuck away. I had to, for my own safety, my health, everything.
For your mental health. It's hearing you speak of the situation, and I know we've talked about it heart to heart. I was in the exact same situation. I was in a very toxic relationship for a man that I was engaged to twice, possibly 3 times. I can't remember. I kept giving the ring back because he suffered a lot from depression, and I stayed with him because of what I was raised and brought up with. My dad had depression, and I knew how to be that codependent person to help somebody, to be that positive entity and that light in their life and help them. And I was in this situation for 10 years, and granted, I had children that I was raising, and I was like, is this the right thing I want to do? He was older than me, and it was just like this like cycle of going back and forth, back and forth. And one day, in a little past 2020, it was early 2021, packed up my SUV, took my personal belongings, said my last words, never looked back, shipped my car to Georgia, built a business there, built new friends, and migrated my way here. I never looked back, never said a word. The fact that it took me that long to do was based out of fear. It was based out of, how am I going to get out of the situation? Like, what's my end game? The manipulation. I want to talk about the manipulation, the power somebody can have over you, okay? I, too, was in a suicidal situation with him, too. I'm going to take my life if you leave me. I don't know how I'm going to survive without you.
How many people have been in relationships where the person has threatened to take their life if you were going to leave them?
I mean, okay, if they're going to, I might be savage. If they're going to, they're going to. Your life is important for yourself. And I have to say that. It sounds hard, but it's the truth. Your well-being cannot be complacent to somebody else's well-being. You have to take care of yourself, and hopefully you'll be that leader in that relationship, or they'll see something in you, maybe get help, and just sever those ties. I have to say that there's so many people that are in relationships where they're being mentally, emotionally, physically, verbally abused, and they don't know how to get out. It's a manipulative situation where you can easily break away. And it sounds easier said than done, but we've both done it. We've had enough. So when you get to that breaking point is when you'll be done. And then you'll have that freedom and
that's why
peace.
If you are experiencing any of these particular things, you have to know your resources. It's very important. So looking up your local women domestic abuse violence centers that are in your area, knowing where the physical locations are where you can receive help in times of need.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a man, a woman, trans, whatever you identify with.
Yep.
It's so important to just be aware of your surroundings. The other thing too that I think is also really important in the process of being able to walk away, and I know it feels that every ounce in you cannot share what's going on, but you have to tell someone what is happening.
Yeah.
And they have to be aware of the situation, and you have to have someone that is involved in your surroundings and your understanding.
Alex, massive chills over me. You have to bring exactly what you said, somebody who's aware of your surroundings. Very close friends of mine who love me dearly, who have no fear in telling me what they think about me. They'll tell me, Karen, this is what I see is happening. And I didn't want to hear it, right?
Oh, of course.
I don't want to hear that.
We don't ever want to hear these things.
And they give me their viewpoint. Then another dear friend of mine, you've even told me this on a situation, like, this is what's happening, girl. I don't think it's right. And I'm like, the observance from the people around you that love you and trust you, you have to listen to them. They're saying it from a place of love, a place of, this is your way out. I'm telling you something's going wrong. I observe this. You don't see it, but I see it in you. You've got this. You can get through this. It's that little bit of encouragement to get you through. And once you break through, you find that peace and that grace within yourself.
And then there's no going back.
No. You know your self-worth.
Absolutely. But it also brings up a whole other area of life. So once you've escaped an abusive relationship, and you are finally on your own again, it takes a while. I think it took me 2 years just to build up my confidence again after being in the situation that I was in. And I notice even now I'm, tiptoeing out there a little bit to date because I'm single and I'm healthy and I'm thriving and I'm looking for other people who are in the same mindset. But I find that I notice those red flags now that I didn't before. But you have to walk away from the situation so you can observe and process whatever it is that you just went through. You have to create that physical space for you to understand what those flags were. Because when you're in it, you don't see it. You're just used to doing the same thing with this person over and over, and you know each other's triggers and hot buttons, and everyone just takes turns pressing those things one after another.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a redefining of yourself, to redefine yourself, to assess your own situation, who you are, spend time alone by yourself with close friends, people that you love, starting to, just enjoy what you love to do in life. Let's say it's running or working out or vacationing or whatever it is. Just do things by yourself to start getting that self-awareness and self-worth. It's so important. But once you get past that, just you're never going to go back. You're going to recognize those and you're able to help other people. And that's like what I'm trying to get out, is that once you recognize these things that have happened in your life, you then become that teacher, that leader for other people. And you can see the signs and maybe be able to help somebody else. I think it's very important that when you do walk the fuck away for the final time, that it's a finality. You do not contact that person. You walk away no matter what, no matter how much they reach out to you. You just have to just sever the ties and move on. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's just how it is. It's been played out throughout history. Therapists will tell you the same thing. We're all brought and recognized and introduced to each other for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's as simple as that. And when somebody is so toxic and you recognize those red flags, you are not going to allow that back into your life. You are recovering. No. Recovering. You broke free.
Exactly. It's a massive freedom when you are able to leave something that is clearly not serving you. Every ounce of your nervous system is even telling you it's not good because you don't feel good when you're around that person. Wise man once said, shout out to my dad, Wilbur Smith, who's the best man in the whole wide world, my father, and he has always said to me, honey, if it doesn't feel right, it ain't right. And you have to lean into that and tap into that intuition because your nervous system doesn't lie. When you are in a situation that doesn't feel good, it's likely because it's not good. And we all have obviously past things that we bring in that influence that also, but we can't discard that natural instinct that is ultimately something that helps us flight or fight kind of response in situations that we either should or shouldn't be in for ourselves.
Exactly. It's like your sixth sense or your intuition, what you're feeling inside your gut feeling. It's always like, it's always the truth. And we fight against it because we don't want to know the truth. We don't want to leave that person that we had so much time with. We always have those hopes that memories and things are going to change. And
time. We get so bound to those things.
Alex, time. Time is so valuable. You cannot get back your time. 2 things in life that 3 things: love, time, and your health. Not in that order, but those are the 3 things that you cannot get back. If you lose your health, you're really screwed. If you give all the love that you have in your heart and you get hurt, it's okay. It just shows the most loving person that you are. And time you can never give back. So be very careful of who you spend your time with. Very careful. And take those lessons and learn from them. I mean, I could be sitting in a corner crying my eyes out, hiding under the covers, just having a miserable time in life for the past mistakes that I made. But I look at them as experiences and what I can teach other people and where I come from. I truly am living my best life because of those red flags, because of those people that I think. And I do. I think all my exes, I think all my ex-friends, my ex relationships, thank you so much for giving me those experiences that I was able to grow and have self-worth and self-love for myself. I have to give a big shout out because that's what's important. I forgive you, I love you, I release you, I let you go. And for me, I'm going to live in peace. And I really bless people to take that time for themselves. I have to.
That was so woke. I don't know if I'm at that place where I'm just ready to say thanks, everybody, and I forgive you. But no, truly, through any experience that is a hardship or something that didn't work out is totally a part of me. And I'm so grateful for all the people that were in my life that I dated on a romantic level, even friends that I know that I was really close with at one period in my life. And, now we're not obviously talking every day. I also need people in my life who are going to give me that grace. And, I'm changing, I'm evolving, I'm doing everything that I want to do. And we have to reciprocate that to others. What we think might be good or bad is different in their eyes. So we have to come into the situation always with compassion, and everything is a process, right? So even learning what you don't want is one of the biggest educators I've ever had in my life when it comes to career or it comes to relationship. What is it that I don't want to do again? What kind of person is it that I don't want to be with? What is the important mindset or qualities that need to be involved in the person I'm going to be spending my time with? When you're hanging out with someone who doesn't necessarily have healthy habits established. And it's interesting too, Karen, because at 30, I feel like all of your habits in your late 20s become your addictions in your mid 30s. Uh-huh. And this is the first time that I'm dating people now in my mid 30s and realizing, one guy, it took me a while to understand. He was a full-blown alcoholic, must have been doing it for years. But it's just interesting because now I'm at that age that if you had started early or whatever experiences you have, these things are going to form your next phase of your life, which seems to be like the most important if you're trying to look for a partner or trying to establish a career, or establish yourself in this world.
Absolutely. I have good news for you. So one of
we love good news.
Good news. One of my therapists, Dr. Goldberg, who no longer is practicing, told me that your 40s are your best years because in your 20s, you're starting out. In your 30s, you're establishing your good habits, your career path, your relationships. Your 40s are just have so much fun and travel and have this beautiful time. And by the time you're in your 50s, now you're coming out of your 40s and you know who you are. And by the time you're in your 60s, that's why they call it retirement, which I don't believe in retirement. I believe in just tiring out every single day that you have until the day you're taken home. But you evolve into this person who has taken these situations and habits and brought them to. So you're talking about addictions. I have to say this. When people have addictions, they have not closed the door to self-healing. So they take that addiction into the next relationship, into the next phase of their life, we'll say, the next decade of their life. They don't close the door because they're still stuck on these addictions. I know a lot of people that are like that. And then I know people that have changed their life for the better, took on healthy addictions, being mindful of their fitness or the way they eat, the people they surround themselves with, the people that they have conversations with, further educating themselves in any way, shape, or form, getting therapy. There can be healthy addictions and there can be unhealthy addictions. When people have addictions, they are hiding their feelings. They are suppressing the pain and the anguish that they're going through by just covering the surface. But what happens after those highs? You're going to have the lows. And when you're at the low, you're not going to feel good and you're not going to want to get better. So then you get high again, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, gambling, whatever it is, you get your high, you get back low. After a while, that up and down yo-yo effect plays a lot, like you said, in your nervous system, right? And your whole body starts playing with your mind. And now you become a person that you don't like, that you can't face in the mirror. The person that you really want to be is being hidden by all these things you're throwing in front of your way, when all you have to do is walk the fuck away from that. Walk away from those addictions. Walk away from that toxicity. Walk away from the thoughts you're putting in your head. Truly walk away from any toxicity in your life and know that you are made for more and that you can take everything within you and with 100% passion and love that you would give to somebody else who's not reciprocal of it, give it to yourself and you can do it.
There's this fantastic book that comes to mind called The Power of Now by Joe Dispenza. And the whole first few chapters, he's talking about a woman who develops all of these different diseases through over a course of time. And it she talks about all of the different things that were happening within her marriage and all of these things that were happening with her kids, and how she got to a point where she had developed some very chronic illnesses that it seemed like there was at the point of no return, that she was literally about to die. And she got to this point where she had said, I am making a choice to get out of this extremely toxic mindset that she felt like she was a prisoner to. And she was able to reverse the diseases that she had that were supposed to be chronic, which means forever. And she was able to totally reset her life in a way. And her story is very much a miracle. And sometimes we like to think that, walking away is really tough, or, there's all these different things involved. But sometimes it can actually just be the fact that you've decided to make this, and you would be surprised the support that you're going to get from yourself, first and foremost, because that means you haven't been supporting yourself. So when you are sitting in something that is not for you anymore, that means that you are sitting too long with it, and it is going to have negative repercussions on every area of your life. So you owe it to yourself to walk away.
I love that you said that, because when you walk away, those repercussions that you were holding back on yourself no longer exist. But the amount of support you're going to get, people are going to come in like floodgates. They're going to be so...
People want to help. People want to do the right thing for you.
They do. And they're there.
They want to see you well. Not everybody. Misery loves company. We talk about that.
Yeah. But no, people do want to see you well. And the people that you thought were judging you by telling you their viewpoint of what you were going through are really the people that love you and support you. So once you walk away from that, then they come into it. Two things came to my mind, and I can't really say these out loud because I don't want to make any medical claims, but certain diseases held in the body are caused by anger. They're caused by fear. Stress. A lot of pain will play on your nervous system, your lymphatic system, your all on a cellular level within your body, and your body becomes toxic. So all these cells in your body, we have like over 300 trillion cells in our body, start to like form, and they can cause like masses in the body and certain types of pain, mental anguish, because of how you're feeling and the way you're speaking to yourself and the way somebody else is talking to you. So when you start to reverse that, certain diseases seem like miracles that have dissipated and have been healed, but it's all about a mental game.
It is. It's all about a mental game, and just learning how to, like you said, walk away, decide. Also, it's not as easy for people, right? So some people I know that are in situations and even relationships where they are got themselves with someone who has so much control over every move that they make. They've given up their job. They've given up their everything for this person. They literally would have nothing if they were to walk away. And so sometimes for a lot of people, they would just rather stay. And I feel so sad for those people that I know that are in those situations. I have family members and friends that I've seen go through this at some point in their life. And I just think that how much of life is going to pass you by of you not living your truth, of you not being happy, of you not being healthy. And if you don't have those things, then what do you have? And I'm not saying you're really strong if you just go live on the streets and figure it out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying educate yourself on your resources and have a plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan. Start thinking about a plan. If you can, stash a notebook away, get some of these thoughts out on paper. If you can, meet with a friend, tell them what's going on, make arrangements for you to essentially escape. Because sometimes it's not that easy, and sometimes people are escaping. I escaped the situation that I'm in. That's the word, for sure.
And people are afraid to tell other people what's going on. Again, like you said
Exactly.
before, communicate, tell the people that care about you what you're feeling and what situation you're in so that they can help you on another level. I have a question for you, Alex. What would you tell your younger self years ago when you were in that relationship to help you get out of where you were at?
I think that I would tell my younger self to trust my intuition. If I would have trusted my intuition from the beginning, that is something that is innate within us, right? That doesn't come from years and years of experience. That doesn't come from a certain age or wisdom. It's maybe the first time that I've experienced whatever it is that I'm experiencing. So I would say for the most part, you definitely need to just make sure that you are tapping into that gut. The stomach, they say, is our first brain. And so it tells us a lot if we listen to it. So when we're with certain people, and we walk away from that situation and we feel great, recognize that. It's about being aware. It's about being observant first and foremost. If we are hanging out with someone and we get into a big fight and I don't know, you're doing drugs and you're like, hi, and then you come down and then you come back and then you walk away and you go home and you have a moment by yourself and you're like, what was that? Like, I have so much anxiety. Listen to those things that your body is trying to tell you. So I think that would be my number one. And also, I just have to say that I totally got my book reference wrong. And it's about Becoming Supernatural, the book that I was talking about by Joe Dispenza. So that just came to mind.
I love
Corrected.
Love your trivia. I had a beautiful session with my therapist yesterday. It was a little bit longer than expected, which, again, I thank her so much for that. I said to her, what is happening? And she said, Karen, sometimes everything's just a little fucked up. It's a way that
that's real.
She's like, it's just the way.
That is so real.
It's just fucked up. She's like, and it's just, how are you going to make this better for yourself? And the conversation was silent for a while. And she's like, how does this make you feel? And it doesn't make me feel good. And I don't feel good. So why do you allow yourself to not feel good? You want to feel peace. You want to feel happiness. And I do. So I was jotting down notes, and so far, so good. It's been 24 hours, and I've been following my own instruction and my own notes of what's going to make me feel at peace and make me feel good about myself, being true to myself, and being the person that I say that I am. So when you're in a situation and it's not, the communication isn't going good, you need to step away from it, whether it be forever, whether it be for another time, whether it be for a few minutes. You want to be able to communicate with somebody by giving them respect. Even if they're not respecting you, you're still respecting them and respecting yourself. That says a lot of your self-worth and your ethics, your morals, and your values. But if things get heated and your intuition's telling you to walk away, leave, guys. You don't need to live like that. In business, in relationships, in family, I've closed doors on family before, and I will never look back, because I really want to be in this place of peace and freedom of who I am.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's this amazing Instagram that I follow called The Holistic Psychologist, which is Dr. Nicole. I'm reading her book right now called How to Do the Work. It's incredible. She is such an amazing resource for people. Obviously, this is free Instagram if you have a phone, access to a smartphone, and internet. So she is able to provide you with talk tracks on how to set the stage for you to create a boundary. So a lot of what we're talking about can be done in a very unhealthy way too. So we could say walk the fuck away, but I've also been in a situation where I was literally mid-conversation with someone and they were so overwhelmed by my concern that I had that I wanted to speak to them about that they couldn't handle it and have even a regular conversation where we're disagreeing about something, and got up and walked away, left my place, and then needed 3 days to cool off because they didn't know how to deal with conflict. Mm-hmm. That is also not healthy. So there's levels always to everything that we're saying. It's not black and white, but being communicated with someone at the time, if you have the ability to be able to say, hey, listen, I would really like for us to talk about this when I'm in a space where I can give this 100% of my attention. I just got home from work. I had a very interesting situation just happen, and I obviously care so much about wanting to hear how it is that you feel. So you owe that, attention. And so, can we do this another time? So there's, like I said, there's levels to walking away and getting out and doing this and doing that. But from a communication standpoint, it's about creating a boundary too, to let someone know when you have the emotional capability to be able to be communicative.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In this day and age, you can Google anything, research anything. Boundaries are really important. I encourage every single one of you to educate yourself on boundaries and how to set a boundary for yourself, for your well-being, and for other people. And when you do walk away from someone or tell them that you cannot, speak with them at the moment, don't have that guilty feeling. Guilt comes on because of empathy and because of compassion. You feel guilty that you're doing something wrong. Give yourself the permission to do something right for you and stand up for your rights. Stand for your rights as a person seeking wellness, seeking the best mental health that you can have. When you have guilt and other things that are hovering over you, it's like there's this dark cloud over you. You want to, I say it all the time, you want to live in the light. And I'm not talking about all lollipops and roses and rainbows. Life isn't like that. But life's about taking your body and your mind, what you've been given, and treating it as best as you can. You need to treat yourself either like a king or a queen at the end of the day. You need to have this temple of this body and take the best care of it. Wholesome. Your soul, right? Your physical body, mental.
Being back to a human being. We've become human doing, but really we are human being.
Amen to that.
And we have to come back to our source of what it means to tap in with ourselves, invest in self-development, invest in our own education of who we are and what we believe, get better at the things that we feel that we lack when it comes to communication or things that hinder us from being able to have healthy relationships. We are in control of that process to form healthy ones. And this is one of the topics I for sure am hoping that we can encourage people to take down the self-development path, learn the levels of what it means to walk away from a situation, learn how to communicate and set boundaries, use the resources that we talked about today, the books, the IG pages that we follow, and all these other wonderful things that are available from the amazing therapists and healers that we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to do something fun. This is not planned, but when my children were little, I had a positivity jar, and we would take little Post-its and write, like a positive phrase or something. In simple words, how would you describe yourself as a evolved person who has walked away? Like something positive you would say about you, like who is Alex? Something positive.
Something positive I would say about myself. I am very resilient.
Yes, you are.
What about you, Karen?
It's funny you say that because resilient is on my Instagram. I've been told I've been strong, and I'd say resilient. I am very forgiving. I've always been a very forgiving person, forgiving of others, and I just started to learn how to forgive myself.
That's beautiful.
And
That's
that
a
piece,
journey that a lot of us are on. So that's another great tip. So hopefully with all these tips, we'll be able to help you out.
Yes.
We appreciate you so much for tuning again to our episode. We hope you found it helpful. We hope it gave you that push that you need to look at things in a different light and know that you have resources.
Lots of resources. You have FDI. We're here to fucking do it for you and for the world.
Yes.
Peace out.
Peace.